Evening, ladies and gentlemen who are here tonight. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Elombah Television tonight. The topic we are discussing tonight is Southern Governors Forum Communique on Insecurity, Most Questions Than Answers. I'm sure that all of us are aware that, what's the date again? On Tuesday, 11th May 2021. The governors in the southern Nigeria met for the first time, I would think, correct me if I'm wrong, since 1999, to issue a communique on the state of security in southern Nigeria. So without much ado, we would like our discussants who are here tonight to discuss the topic, what they think about it. We start with Dr. Law Mefor. What do you think about a communique issued by all the southern governors of Nigeria? Let's start with you first, Dr. Law Mefor.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to have the opening shot. I think the communique is actually long in coming. We have been waiting for it. I have personally called for the re-establishment of the Southern Governors Forum. Yes, to put the record straight, I think I recall that at the outset of this republic, between 1999 and 2007, we had the Southern Governors Forum, but somehow it fizzled out. And the Northern Governors Forum persisted. And they will have a calling for the re-establishment of the Southern Governors Forum to form a counterweight to their counterparts, that is the Northern Governors Forum. And they have come together again, and they have issued what many would call far-reaching communique, encapsulating their resolutions. I think many of the resolutions are apt and really necessary at this point in time, addressing certain specifics. For example, their position on grazing, herders grazing in Nigeria. Yes, they have called for, or rather, they have taken a position that they have banned, open grazing. Well, I think, that's a statement of fact. For it to really become actionable, they must back it up with a law. And that is where the problem will be. You see, it's not the much said that matters. It is the much done of the much said. I still think that the communique and the resolutions and the proclamations of the Southern Governors Forum, they are still at the level of proclamation. They must be reduced to laws and legalities so that they can be subjected to legal actions, legal processes. You and I know that an action is not a crime until it is criminalized, because the basic definition of a crime is any action against which there is a stated punishment. And in our own presidential democracy, you cannot say that the communique or proclamations of the Southern Governors Forum amount to a law. No, it does not amount to a law. So they must follow through. As far as I am concerned, I think it is only Ondo State, under Ayodele, Peter Ayodele Fayose, that open a grazing law was promulgated. After him, I'm not sure any other governor has done anything close to that. So they must come away with the laws, stipulating clearly what they mean by open grazing. But beyond this, I have a problem with the resolution, as beautiful as it is. I believe that if you say you have banned open grazing, then you must tell us how grazing will take place. I don't think it's enough to just ban it. You must take steps to tell us the areas where the cattle will graze, unless you are saying that we don't want cattle anymore in southern Nigeria. And that will not be right. Because, when they talk about cattle rearing, we think of the Fulanis who herd their cattle. But don't forget that in Igbo land, for example, we have cattle that are indigenous to us. We have what we call a Fibo. That has always been there. So if you talk about open grazing, we still have a tiny population of that Fibo that also is affected by that proclamation. The point I'm trying to make is that it is not just enough. And they needed to have come out with a template on how grazing will now take place. We have been talking about ranching. That's the way to go. They ought to say something about ranching. I would like to see the southern governors agreeing that they'll be ranching and making a government business. Making a government business here doesn't necessarily mean that government will have to establish ranches. No, they can make loans available, and people saying that is private business. Yes, government can provide loans for private business. Why not? If a government would benefit from it, and if you know cattle business, everything about cattle is money. From the bone, the hide and skin, apart from the beef, the milk. It's a whole dairy, industry, animal husbandry. So what the point I'm trying to make is that while trying to solve the security challenge that accrue, to it and from it between the herders and the farmers, the government can creatively make money out of it. By,
all right, let's not, Dr. Mefor, may I suggest that you don't expend all your bullets at once,
yes,
because we will
thank you.
eventually, we will take each paragraph of that communique one by one. So right
Thank
now,
you.
let's get the general overview of what each of our discussants think of that communique first before we start taking it one by one, because we will
Thank
dissect
you.
every paragraph of that communique. So
Thank
let's
you.
have yes, Nze Ugo-Onwuka, please. Can you unmute yourself
Yes,
to
my
tell us
brother.
what you think of that communique? Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on the program tonight. I believe that a very good evening to all the other people on the platform this evening too. And I greet you very well, sir. I believe that the Southern Governors meeting has already been, how do I put it? I think it's too late to come at this time. But however it is, I congratulate them for taking that bold step to come together to look at issues that concern southern Nigeria, just like the nine back. We remember when the northern governors had their meetings prior to the 2015 elections with Kerry and the fallouts up to where we are today. The commentaries from the northern elements who feel that the governors shouldn't have met is my very major concern. I want to make it clear that the southern governors did the right thing, and I want to encourage them not to relent in their efforts to stay together as one unit. It is significant that at this point in time, that a lot of things have really gone wrong without the southern governors being a unit in addressing these problems. The Delta meeting is one that personally, I would want them to down to the state assemblies. All southern states are looking at making these laws. We do not make these laws the gallery. By January this year, the Southeast governors made the same statement. This is May, going to June. Nothing has happened. So if the Southeast State Assemblies had moved ahead to set up laws to back this statement, it will make a lot of sense. I want to believe that the southern governors will do exactly that, just like Dr. Mefor said. If by the end of May, we do not have a meeting of all the Southern State Assembly speakers, looking at these critical issues that were raised in the communique, I think we'll be having maybe like a circus. But I want to congratulate them, and I want to tell all those threatening and making all kinds of statements that nobody has the monopoly of stupidity and madness. You see, when people take charge of their lives, people are being murdered every day. Farmlands are being overrun by men that we do not know where they came from. Today we have heard they are Nigerians invading Nigeria. You see, the Southern governors, yes, it is late for them to start this, but I thank God that they are starting this at this point in time. Everyone must make sure that we give them the backing, whatever they need to make sure that this coming together of the Southern governors stays. Let us make sure that it continues, because the times are evil.
All right, thank you very much.
Men are infiltrating the South, and we need to have this kind of meetings more. Thank you very much, sir.
Nze Ugo-Akpe, we will still come back to you for further, for your further points, for your further takes on the communique. Let's now hear from Pamyat Dagyat. Are you there with us? What do you think, your general overview, first of all, of that Southern Governors Forum Communique?
Mr. Dan, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I appreciate the privilege to be on this platform and the privilege to even share with this very erudite discussant. My own position, I may try to look at this thing with the perception from a middle belter. To start with, the only thing novel about this meeting is that the Southern governors actually met. That's the only thing novel about it. It's not too far off from what has been happening in the North, because the Northern governors have been meeting, and so there's nothing new if governors do meet. The question is, why now? Is it because of the security situation? Is it because of the power play for 2023? Is it because of some economic reasons, because they talked about the ports and other things? Is it for economic reasons? Is it for socio-cultural ties? Why now? Their communique, to my mind, I've read it more than 10 times. It's just a very finely worded statement with no bite. It does not have any clear strategy of what they want to do, nor how they intend to achieve what they are talking about. The communique, to my evaluation, has 10 issues which is neither here nor there. The unity of Nigeria, they are pledging to it, but with a condition that there should be justice, fairness, equity, and oneness. The question is, who are to achieve that? They are state actors. They have the mandate of the people. So they are saying that they want a country with this. Why they are the state actors? Why are they not taking steps to ensure that these things are there? They are talking about ban on open grazing. The governor of Benue State is one of the governors that promulgate open grazing, and it was legislated. Just to add up to what my last discussant said, another state is the Benue State. The man has been suffering, and he took the bull by the horn. He enacted this law against open grazing, and the woes that this man is passing sees no bound. Where are these southern governors all this while? This is more than 2 years. This man has been suffering persecution because of that promulgation. Now they are saying they want the same thing. Why? The third issue they talked about is support states to domicile modern livestock. They are state actors. They relate with the system. They have people, we have the legislators, we have the executive. They are the ones to ensure that these things are enshrined. So they are saying this should happen from who? Is it we, the non-state actors? Or why are they saying this to us? What kind of applause are they looking for? They are asking for a national dialogue. What happened to the 2014 conference? What else are we dialoguing? I feel that this point of dialogue is a diversionary step. We will now start talking, and miss the issues of that justice, fairness, equity, and oneness. That is what will happen.
All right.
So why don't we go to the 2014 document?
All right.
They are talking about restructuring, state police, revenue allocation, and true federalism. This has been the issues on the table for long. What is new about that? They are talking of appointment of federal character. Go to their various states. You will hear that they equally are guilty of skewed appointment. So the man who cannot go to equity with clean hands. So what is he asking for? Yes, these are issues, but they are bringing the issues as if they are now the sense. They are now representing what we have been talking about. Number 7, they talk about fostering cooperation among the southern states. Why did this cooperation, what happened to it? Because there used to be a southern governors meeting. What happened? So the question is, why now? This is a good idea. We pray that that stands, but we need to understand what the motivation is and then what is the quest. The Oshodi gridlock issue, that road is no different from many of the failed states across the country. So what is unique about that? We have a problem with our road network. They are talking about the fear of COVID-19 lockdown. Is it for another palliative, or is it a genuine concern for the progress of this country? Finally, they talked about the president should speak. Finally, I will stop there. Finally, the president should speak. Speak what? What do you want to hear from Mr. President? Every time the president speaks, it brings in more controversy than solution. So I think that more is desired from that particular communique. That is my position for now.
Thank you very much. You have stolen our thunder by touching all of them one by one, but we'll still go back. We'll still go back to them in the future. Thank you very much. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay, let's hear from Mr. Marcel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, thank you so much. I often define success as a step in the right direction. Now, how long the step is or how short it is it's a point of discussion. So once you take a step in the right direction, I see it more as success. The one that bothers me is when you take a step in the wrong direction or when you take a step backwards and continue to very far away from solving your problem. So the whole uproar coming up from the Southern Governors meeting also speaks to one thing. That means there must have been some kind of a calculated political pressure to stop that meeting, or there probably had been some kind of maneuvering going on to ensure that meeting doesn't happen. So when I see things like that, I begin to ask, why are you concerned that me and my family met while you and your family usually meet all the time, and you don't want me and my family to meet? So what is it? It's either you don't want us to forge some kind of alliance and progress and be able to work together peacefully, or that you are happy that the disunity exists there in the South, and to whose purpose? Who is this serving? Is this serving your aim? So when I see a lot of the uproar coming up from the Southern Governors meeting, it points to the fact that there has been some underground dealings. I would say the Southern Governors have made a big move, because if there is no much resistance to them coming to me, then I will know that probably there's nothing stopping it. So the noise means that there's something actually stopping it from happening all the years. So the bottom line is this: they have made a move in the right direction, and I applaud it 100%. Looking at all the elements that they have spoken, is a different ballgame, and I'm happy because they represent a people. If your people has been shouting and agitating, look, the Northern Governors meet all the time. Once there is any critical issue in the politics, they meet and they issue press release, they issue statements. Arewa Consultative Forum meets all the time. In fact, I could tell you that they meet virtually every week. I mean, from the number of press releases that is coming from them, they are presenting a united front, but they don't want you to present a united front. Why? I mean, that's a question still on my lips of what use it is to them that the South cannot present a united front. They do not want any powers that will challenge them. So let us encourage the Southern governors. Thank God they've woken up from their sleep. Let's encourage them to keep talking, and let's encourage them to be man enough to stand up and speak for their people. For now, that's my conclusion.
All right, we thank you very much. Let's hear from Comrade Sani Saeed. You can unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we cannot see your face clearly.
Okay. What about now?
Okay, I think it's better now. All right.
Even okay.
Anyway, we cannot see your face.
My camera is okay. A little bit faulty.
Okay, go ahead.
So the front camera I'm experiencing a kind of fault.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to speak alongside various intellectuals. I really appreciate this. First and foremost, I think the meeting held by the Southern governors was the first of its kind, almost over a decade now. And we must really applaud Governor Efenyi Okowa for hosting such meeting, because it is a kind of meeting that will give an integrated form of development to the entire southern state. So I think it is a right step in time. However, given the communique, there are certain points highlighted which I think causes the uproar from various angles across the nation. But before then, let me clarify some points here raised by the last speaker.
Are we hearing him?
Concerns the South, and even give an injunction or injuncture that is not favorable to the Southerners, maybe living in the North. They have never. So this sitting is just like the national security meeting held by Buhari. Given the fact that the whole nation is facing a unique form of insecurity. For instance, the Northeast is faced and ravaged by insurgents. The Northwest is faced by this banditry, while the North Central is faced by this farmers' herders clash. If you go to the Southeast, you will find a form of insecurity caused by the IPOP through the South, I think is East Insecurity Network, something of that nature. So we need to find a unique way of addressing these issues, not giving it a regional coloration or attaching the menace to a particular ethnic group. On the issue of ban of open grazing by the Southern governors, I think it is a right step at this point. But in the past, I think, let me check the date. Goodluck Jonathan released 100 billion naira for ranches to be established across the nation. But our governors squandered this huge sum of money. Up to now, you can never find any cattle ranch across the federation. So did these governors ask themselves, where was that fund allocated to them by Goodluck Ebele Jonathan? None of them talk of that money. Where was the money squandered? Where is the money? Is there any cattle ranch established? Let them answer this question, the governors themselves. Because in the communique, I can see them given an alternative. of modern livestock management system.
All right, Comrade Sani, at this point, thank you very much for this brief general. Yes,
okay.
Unless you have what you
Yes.
want to say in mind,
Yes,
I believe
yes.
that once we start picking up the points one by one, you will have the opportunity to speak on the point you want to make now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because unless you are saying that it is not contained in the communique, but I will show the communique now. Let's give everyone briefly 1 minute to comment on those communique. Then your points will eventually come out. Please allow me to do it this way. All right. First of all, I believe all the discussants have given the brief introduction. So I'm now sharing the communique itself. Communique issued at the conclusion of the meeting of the governors of Southern Nigeria, government of Sabah and Delta State, Tuesday, 11th May 2021. Number one, affirm that the people of the Southern Nigeria remain committed to the unity of Nigeria. Let me now read it out. Let's start from our discussants. Dr. Mefor, briefly, 1 minute. Communique number one. What's the comment? Any issue with that? Please unmute yourself. I will suggest that all our discussants don't mute themselves. Just unmute yourself so that we'll go through this without wasting much time.
Sorry, my network is a little bit poor.
Dr. Mefor, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you now.
No,
my network went off.
I'm talking of Dr. Law Mefor. Is he there? No?
Okay.
No, Dr. Mefor is not there. Okay.
He's off. He's
okay.
dropped off. Yeah.
All right. Pam.
Yes. To my mind.
Communique number one. Do you have any issue with that?
Yeah. Yes. To my mind, that when you have a statement and you have a but, if you believe that the unity of this country, you are standing by it. But when you put the but, it means there is something that can dissuade that unity. And that is where my concern is. Because but they want on the condition that there is justice, fairness, equity, and oneness. That is where my issue is. Why is the but? Is it to please the non-actors that are agitating or what? That is where my issues are.
All right, thank you. Nze Ugo-Akpe?
Yeah.
Do you have any issue with the paragraph number one?
Yes, just like the last speaker said, you need to just make your point and leave it at that. We do not need to massage anybody's ego at this time. We need to be straight with whatever we want to say. So I think they needed to be firmer with that particular point. They're just like the last speaker said. Yes.
They're simply committed to the unity of
clause,
Nigeria, isn't it? Yes.
Yes. You see, when you want to say that, say it so that we know where you stand.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nobody, for me, that's my personal opinion. Okay. I think if they want Nigeria to be one unit and indivisible, they should go ahead and say it. Now, exactly. If they want to say that there's a possibility that Nigeria, just like every other country that went through that process that brought us together, some have been dissolved. If you want to also say that, then let us know that it is the restructuring you're talking about that can lead us to that. You understand? But it's better if they had stood on a path that you can hold them to, because now, just like the last speaker said, we do not know where to hold them. So that's my opinion about that. So it's neither here nor there.
All right. Okay, Marcel?
Dan, I think the statement speaks for itself. What they are trying to point at is that Nigeria as it is does not have any of those attributes. There is injustice, there is no equity, there is no fairness, So they are saying, what they're saying is that if I have to be in this marriage, if I have to continue in this marriage, then these things has to come in. I mean, this is something between you and your wife. I mean, if you are violent to your wife, and then somebody comes to say, look, you need to live in peace, you need to stay together as one family. Your wife can say, okay, if I have to go back to this house, if I have to stay in this house, then my husband should agree not to hit me again. Or the husband can say, look, my wife should agree not to raise a hand on me again. So that point is very, very clear. It recognizes the fact that, yes, those things exist.
They're saying that we want to remain in Nigeria,
but
however, but you must
Yes,
give us.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
What if
and those things are
what
very
if the
factual.
okay, but what if those conditions are not met? Did they say what they will do?
Then negotiations begins. I mean, if I tell you, look, if I have to stay in your house, this has to happen, and then you come back and tell me this cannot happen, then it means you are asking me to open up negotiations, and which is very much accurate. See, these are about human coexistence.
Okay,
So
let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Sani, please. Sani, please.
Actually, I don't have much to say on the first statement issued.
Okay.
However, the governors should look at themselves. Are they fair to their people?
Okay.
First, charity begins at home.
Right.
The governors should check themselves. Are they fair to themselves before asking fairness from the federation? That's my own take. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Number two, unless Mefor has come back, we go to number two. Number two, they spoke about the incursion of armed herders, criminals, and bandits into the southern part of the country has presented severe security challenge so that citizens are not able to live their normal lives, including pursuing various productive activities, leading to a threat to food supply and general security. Consequently, the meeting resolved that open grazing of cattle be banned across southern Nigeria. I think this is the most controversial. Who agrees with me? Let's start again. Is Dr. Mefor back with us now? If not, let's go to Pam.
Well, my position on that is that we in the Middle Belt have been suffering that scenario that they have just realized and then they are suffering. But if you look at the last sentence, consequently, the meeting resolved that open grazing of cattle be banned. It means they are not saying they have banned it, but that is the process. They are going to undertake a process for that to be banned. So I think I'm okay with that because that is a solution part.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, Nze Ugo-Akpe, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I believe that the statement that open grazing of cattle should be banned is in the right direction. But we need to see action behind it. Fayose did it in 2016. Autumn did it recently. The question is, do they have the resolve to achieve this point that they've spoken about? I gave you an instance when I spoke earlier in the introductory part, that the Southeast governors in January made such statements. And the organization which I represent, the Igbo Renaissance Forum, called on them to make sure that the state assemblies would move to set up enabling laws. But that hasn't been done up till this May, that they've met with other southern governors. So unless that statement is backed by law, it will just be a mere rhetoric. Right. And nothing will come out of it. That's my opinion. That decision is in the right direction, but it needs to be backed up by serious action from the state assemblies.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have Marcel.
Dan, I'm in full support of the open grazing banning because again, I ask myself, you can graze, okay? You can graze your cattle or cow. Nobody says you can't graze, but let it not be open. Open as in going on the street. Okay, let me ask, if you are carrying your heads of cattle along the highway and then those cattle poo as they are walking, do you clean them up? I mean, these are just simple questions. I'm not even looking at the main issue, which is the fact that they get into people's property, eat up their crops, eat up their and then it results into fights and then killings and all that. Let's just make it as a common sense. The country has developed to a point where some places that used to be bushes are now cities, living cities that people are paid to clean every month or every day, okay? And then you are moving your cattle, you move them to one side and then you bring them back. And then these cattle, they poo along the road. Have you seen any of the headers with anything whatsoever that can be used to clean up those poo? No. So let us make it clear. Open grazing should be banned, and I support it 100%. Specific areas for grazing is okay. And part of what I keep saying is agriculture is business for everybody. So you could do cattle agriculture, goat agriculture, chicken agriculture, fish farming, cassava. There are so many things you can farm. These are all private businesses, okay? And then if you need money to run your private business, go to the bank. If you mustn't force government. Again, I keep saying it. Government is not good in doing private business. Now I have heard that somebody has released 100 billion naira and it has gone. Imagine what that could do to our health systems if channeled properly. And ask yourself, how much do you think the Buhari government has released just to do cattle ranching? Why not individuals, register, go to government, use your BVN, get a loan, and then go and build ranches and then repay back this loan? Why must it be government? I do not subscribe to that. Government has never been good in running businesses. We know from Nitel to all the business, even NNPC, they are full of corruption. They shouldn't. And we should stop this habit of having to tell government to build ranches. It is not government business. They will just squander the money. Let us think for ourselves. Right. As a private person that is doing cattle business, go and get a loan. Go and buy land anywhere in Nigeria. You can buy land. People are selling land. Buy land, fence it, plant your crops, graze your cattle on the land. I don't think anybody have any problem with that. But don't come and be roaming cows all over the whole street. They mess up the whole street, and then at the end of the day, you go and make your business. Who would you want to clean that up? Or they go into people's house to destroy things and then fight ensues. You bring out AK-47 and you shoot them dead. Or you go into people's farm. People that has taken a farmland, they've cultivated it, you get your cow into it, they eat it up. Imagine somebody coming to your cow and take off your cow, just like the cow rustling business. The cow rustling business is doing to cows what cows are doing to farmers. So let us understand it very, very clear. And I want someone to take me up on that.
Thank you very much. Sani, please.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, I'm in support of the ban of the open grazing. But before you ban this open grazing, what do you have in place to replace it? This is a major question we need to ask ourselves. The last speaker just said he is not in support of government supporting private businesses. That is not so. In Nigeria, we practice a mixed economy, and government has the right to invest in any form of business it deems fit. So now, what is government looking for? It want to restore peace. It want to restore normalcy. These nomads, the herders, we all know that they are nomads. They roam from place to place. That is their culture. You can't just tell them, you can't just wake up one day and say, okay, stop, go and buy plot of land and start a kind of modern livestock management. You have to train them, assess them. Just like of recent, the federal government issued waiver to Dangote so that we'll have less of inflation. You see, indirectly, the government is controlling the economy. So now the government can introduce specific measures to settle this cattle, the Fulani men, the Fulani herdsmen. It can keep them introducing a modern system so as to regain normalcy. Now, how much is the government spending on security? Had it been we have security, government will not be spending much on that. So, to my own observation, it will not take anything from the Federation account to train these people, even if it means giving them loan. I think it is the right thing to do.
Thank you very much, Sani. Let me ask Ugo-Onwuka this question. What is your reply to? Isn't Sani making a very good point here that because Nigeria runs a mixed economy, we have government giving subventions to all these billionaires and their businesses? Is it right to argue that they cannot support Fulani herdsmen to move into ranching instead of simply telling them, stop grazing your cattle, without giving them avenues of reestablishing another type of business? What do you think? Nze Ugo-Akpe, please.
Well, I think first of all, thank you very much. First of all, I think Comrade Sani needs to understand that what we are discussing here is private business. You understand? And these are private businessmen who are actually very rich. They are very comfortable businessmen. You see, what Sani is looking at are the artisans, so to speak, who lead the cows from Sokoto to Oka or Agolo or Nsukka or Igbariam or Elugu. You understand? He's not looking at the people who are running the business of the cattle. If the people running the business of the cattle need to make a shift to a modern way of doing cattle business, it is just like Sani, Comrade Sani, and myself, who are into other things and not cattle rearing. When we feel that the business we are doing needs an upgrade, what do? We call in consultants. We ask questions. We get answers. We do feasibility studies. We pay money for these things, and then we embark on the business, on the venture. Now, when you make it state business, to run private business, if everybody starts to make such demands, what would everybody say? My brother is a spare parts businessman. And today we know that business has gone global. He needs to set up an online store. He needs to do a lot of things to make sure his business grows. Is it the business of the federal government to help that spare parts dealer, to help that grains dealer? Because when we are talking about farming, it's not just cattle rearing. We have people who are into production of cassava, mango, watermelon, tomatoes, pepper, and the rest of them. So if we are saying that only cattle rearers should enjoy such privileges, it is an undue privilege. And if we want to be fair to ourselves, we must understand that to make sure that equity is taken care of.
But Sani
federal
is arguing,
government, yes. What they need to do is sensitization. They need to do
permit me to make some clarifications.
Awareness, and then make sure that these people understand the migration from the current way of doing things, which is mundane, to the modern way of doing things, which is ranching.
Sani wants to make a reply. Sani wants to make a reply.
You see, let's go back to the genesis of this. Let's go back to the genesis of this herdsman problem or palaver.
I'm holding on, son.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So you see, we are trying to solve an insecurity issue. Going back to the administration of Adwa, when the militants in the Niger Delta region, we are disturbing our economy. Not that Adwa is afraid of this militant, but he has to give them an amnesty and even establish a ministry to cater for them just for peace to reign. He gave them a lot of scholarship, employed a lot of them, give them so many contracts, lucrative ones, just for peace to reign. Not that the government doesn't have the power to stop them, but to dialogue and solve the menace in a simplest manner. So now, these herders are causing trouble, not only in the southeast or in the southwest, but even here in the north. So let's look at the possible solution. What are the possible solutions? Is to train them on modern livestock management. The government has to intervene, and it is only the government that can do that, not you and myself. These herders, when they are caught in the act, they are neither Muslim or nor Christian. They don't attend schools, so they are not enlightened. The government need to intervene.
All right, thank you. Let me ask you a question here, Sani. Pamson, what is wrong with Sani's suggestion in this idea? Because we are trying to find a solution. What is wrong with the government said, okay, let us form the way we had a ministry for Niger Delta, amnesty. Should government now form a ministry for, herdsmen or ranching or whatever? How do we solve this? What do you think, Pamson? Pamson, you're gonna mute yourself, please. Yes.
I said, sorry, I may disappoint you because Sani made some very relevant points. So I am with him with a little bit caveat.
You're not disappointing me.
Okay. First and foremost, let's be very clear. Yes. Let's be very clear. Government
if I
have
catch
a right.
People,
Government have a right to ban some aspect of businesses that are of concern to the general majority of the people within their constituents. Therefore, we have seen, therefore, they can ban open grazing. I don't have a problem with that. In my state, we ban mechanics from opening their shop anywhere. We have what we call the mechanic village. We ask every mechanic to move to that village. So in the same vein, there is nothing wrong to ban the open grazing and then direct them to where they can institutionalize that particular business. Number two, just like the anchor borrower scheme, government is subsidizing the agricultural farming mechanization. Farmers can apply and get tractors. So I think that if government is going to facilitate a particular area where headers can really go there in every state, is a good idea. The only problem, the caveat here is that when it is the federal government that wants to go and do it, and the federal government is directing that every state should give X proportion of land for that, it created the issue. But if the federal government had just said, okay, we have this amount of money, states that want to create ranch can access this resource and give us a plan on how they want to do it, and the federal government will give that to the state. This is a condition of the state. It is the prerogative of the state, not the federal government. I think that is where we got it wrong, and it created the whole hullabaloo. And I think so. I am in support that government should intervene because this is a crisis scenario, and we need to resolve the crisis. So any intervention to resolve a crisis is a good thing.
Marcel, what do you think? So is it wrong for the way federal government gives the subventions to Dangote, all these billionaires? What is wrong with government? Say also, let us create some money to help these cattle rearers to have to venture into cattle ranching.
Dan, you need to understand that when you say federal government funds is a collective funds. Do you understand? Is a pool of funds for all the citizens of the country. So it's always unfortunate that when people assume power, they want to use power to better their own lot. And one thing I want people to understand is this: the people that are doing cow business are not poor people. The civil service, for instance, the only thing that the civil service allows you to do, apart from the civil service work, is agriculture. And fortunately, the cow business falls into the agriculture business. And I can tell you that virtually, say 60 to 80% of top civil service personnel are into this cow business. And that's why you are probably seeing it, coming up in terms of becoming more or less like a national discourse. And what I simply see is a group of people trying to use a national pause for their own private businesses. That is the way I see it. CBN or any other organization should be allowed to set up a fund, and there should be a process to access it. Now, this Anchor Borrowers Fund, there's a process that was set up. Even the agricultural fund, it is states that apply. States bring a counterpart funding, and then the federal government supports them with another counterpart funding. But no state is being forced. It is a free will. So if a state says, I don't want, there is nobody is going to force them. So what you are seeing is somebody forcing somebody. And that is where the problem is. So if I'm a governor of, say, Enugu State, and my people are not doing cow business, my people are more into, say, spare part business, I should get a counterpart funding that would enable me to set up a large area for mechanical parts built for my business, for my people. If I'm a Sokoto governor and my people are into cow business, I should go and get a counterpart funding that will enable me to set up ranches. So it's not mandatory that there must be ranch in every state. States have their priorities, and you cannot at the federal level set a priority for a state. So whose interest? So let us allow states to decide. And if you check in that communique, the governor say willing states. So I am telling federal government that as you're setting up funding for ranching, please also set up funding for entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs are looking for money. Also set up funding for fashion designers, people that are sewing clothes. Set up money for shoe manufacturing. Nigerians are into a lot of things. So we want this setup. Let us set all the funds and let the state decide on the areas they want to grow. All right. That is it. Nobody's saying anything is wrong. So set it up and let everybody, I mean, the money is for all of us. I'm only against forcing it down and taking care of just a set of people that are into a particular business. I am not in cow business, so I am disadvantaged. Right. And the last thing I would want to also say is that the idea of federal government giving grants to specific people is wrong. And Dangote is one of them. If you want to set up a process for allowing people to access grants, make it very open and transparent so that anybody that qualified should go and apply in a transparent way. You can't give Dangote and not give me. Hello? So
okay, thank you very much. I think FCC Jones, quickly, let's give us your opinion on this. You've been raising up your hand. FCC Jones, someone briefly in 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, I think some of the things, good evening all. Some of the things I wanted to talk about has been taken care of by earlier speakers, but I want to add to what Marcel said. Cattle business is not a federal government business. If someone must, I think some of the people or most of the people who are into cattle rearing are actually millionaires and multi-millionaires. They should be able to set up ranch for themselves or for their cattle. The federal government or any state government should not be blackmailed into setting up ranch for someone who owns a private business. For instance, I own a paint business, paint manufacturing outfit. If I decide to start producing my paint on the main road in order to hold the federal government to ransom to set up a paint factory for me, what happens? What about the people who are into farming, who farm on rice? What stops them from deciding to encroach into the main road or plant their rice seedlings on the road? What stops the next person who sells, who runs a provision store from getting into or trespassing into a government property to set up his or her own business?
CBN has created a fund for rice farmers. So I think, yes, CBN has created a rice fund.
But that's not a free fund.
Okay.
The agricultural business, cattle ranching or cattle rearing is in the agricultural sector, and we already have a Ministry of Agriculture. So people who think they cannot afford to build ranches for their cattle can as well go and access the facility that the CBN has for agricultural or for farmers.
All right.
It shouldn't be a special fund. So people are disobeying laws. When the governor says, this is how I want my state to be, you should obey that law. You shouldn't force a governor to build. It might not be part of his budget.
Okay. Well, thank you, FCC. We'll still call back to you for and the feature points we will have here. Let's go to, in fact, the following subparagraphs are all related to this cattle ranching palaver. So let's go to paragraph 5, state police. They called on the federal for the nation requires urgent and bold steps be taken to restructure the Nigeria Federation, leading to the evolution of state police and other issues of true federalism. Let's start from, is Dr. Mefor back? Not yet, no? Okay, Pamson, state police.
Okay, with respect to state police, I remember Governor Jan of Plateau State during the impending headers problem, advocate for this state police. Every other governor was lambasting him. Today, it becomes an imperative for proper security of our community. It is a needful venture. But I need to say here that the quasi-state police is already in existence. The civilian JTF in the Northeast and other states are more or less like a state police. The Amotekun is more or less like a state police. So there are legal procedure of even instituting that you don't need to bring it as a national forum anymore. As a country, we have already surpassed that. There are processes, there are procedures, and you can. During the Jang administration, we have Operation Rainbow, approved by the Commander-in-Chief. So it is there. We were able to get 10 vehicles per local government, that is logistic vehicles, 170. We were able to get people trained in the communities in order to protect their communities. All those things are state police. I don't understand when people say state police. Must they wear the blue uniform that the federal police are wearing or what? These provisions are there. When you need, since now it is a need, governors have the wherewithal to do what is needful to secure a quasi-armed segment to protect their people. And some governors are taking advantage of it. So that is my position there. It's not a new thing. It's something that is already available. It's only for them to take proper initiative. But for restructuring, yes, I support.
Okay, you support restructuring and state police?
Yeah, restructuring has, that is ensuring that, like, take for instance, mineral mining. The state should take control of the minerals within their state, not federal government. And other things. These are the kind of restructuring we want.
Okay,
and then
Sani, let's go to Canada. Okay, we have had you, sir. Yes. So let's move higher. Thank you very much. Sani, Saeed, restructuring and state police. What do you think, comrade?
Actually, as the last speaker just said, we've already have this quasi-state police. What I am not in support of is giving them arms, because when these police, the state police are given arms, state governors will be manipulating them, manipulate the entire system, during election.
If they don't have arms, if they don't have arms, so how will they enforce whatever action they decide to take?
They can help enforce law, just like the Hisba in Kano, the Castelia in Kaduna. There is also Karota in Kano, and even the one the last speaker made mention in Plateau State. They were not heavily armed. Why not even if we are restructuring the police, we should empower the national police. Nigeria is not at that level whereby we will have police like the NYPD in the US. We are not in that level. If you see, just look at what is happening to the Nigerian police already. Their salary is not even enough to cater for their families and themselves. Just go to any police station nearby. Just look at the structure. Look at their vehicles. Look at even the nature of their training. Just compare the Nigerian police force and that of South Africa. Just common South Africa or Brazil. They are uncomparable because the differences is worrisome. So in my own position, I prefer the federal government empowering, retraining, and equipping our Nigerian police than establishing state police and giving them arms. That's my position.
Okay, Marcel, please.
That my position about this is things has to be done properly. As it is now, it is the federal that controls the police force. And what usually happens is that state governors will go hand in cap begging a sitting president to approve for some kind of a state system to be set up. We saw what happened during the setup of Amotekun. There was a fixed talk between the federal government and the Southwest governors. Even during the setup of the Ebagu, initially when the Southeastern Governors Forum wants to set up a security outfit, the federal government resisted and they pulled back. It is only when ES10 came up and people built a lot of confidence around ESN, I was surprised why what they were not allowed to do then, they were finally allowed to do as a counter to ESN on ground. So if you look at the trend of things, the federal government still control things, whether you like it or not. The Amotekun are still crying that they have applied to the National Security Advisor for some kind of weapons for Amotekun. And that is not happening. And that's why you have a proliferation of arms across the country. And I keep asking the headsmen that are having AK-47, how did they get those weapons? And they know the funniest thing, our security operatives sees them with those weapons, they move around with those weapons, and they can't accost them. It looks as if there is some kind of legal backing for those weapons that they're moving around with. So let us make it clear. A state police official legislation in the constitution is very, very key. Forget all the parabolation, immediate responses people are putting in place. Tomorrow, if the federal government makes up its mind to shut down all those agencies, they will shut it down. But if it is constitutional, in the constitution, then the federal government will not have any power to shut it down. So I do not only support state police, I support local government police, I support community police at various level of operations, because that's the only way you can gather your intelligence. And let me tell you, there's a lot of money in policing. People don't understand. The federal government doesn't need to pay the police. Police system, when properly run, will generate income for the country. So we need to understand that. I was in Germany at a point where a police officer caught somebody that was smoking in a place he's not supposed to smoke. All the police officer did was to hold him by the waist and then bring out a POS, and then the guy slotted his card, and a fine of 50 euros was deducted from his card, and then he let him go. That is how police make their money everywhere. So there are crimes all over the whole place, but it only depends on how you want to treat it. And if police is properly run, it is an industry on its own.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Mefor and Nze Ugo-Akpe appears to have left us. So FCC Jones, I think you can now step into their shoes. Let's hear from you. You're raising your hand. What do you think?
I think the idea of state police, county, community policing, LGA policing is wonderful. Wonderful on their own, but the problem we have is, are these governors not actually trying to play to the gallery, like some people have suggested? Do they have the political will, the sincerity of purpose to be able to drive this idea to benefit the ordinary people? Because in my thinking, our problem is not really about state police, this political structure, or the sharing formula. The problem we have in Nigeria is about the individuals who are occupying different positions in government, in public service. Because if we have state police, for instance, today, do these governors know how best to deploy them to serve the people, or will they want to use them to witch hunt their political opponents? Will they give them the right training to be able to serve the people whom they are supposed to protect? Will they be able to give them the right equipment to combat crime? Or will they see it as an opportunity to rip off the people, to fight their political opponents or to protect themselves while the ordinary people are suffering. For instance, if you come to Nigeria today, the federal police we have.
Okay, thank you, FCC. Let's make progress. We thank you for your contributions. Let's look at the other point they raised. As a result of widespread agitation, convoke a national dialogue as a matter of urgency. Do we need another national conference at this point? Quickly, one minute, please. Thompson, 1 minute. Do we need another national conference?
I don't think we need it. It's a waste of time. It's just some giving room for a whole delay in following the issues and getting it right. So I don't believe we need any dialogue.
Thank you.
Let's use the 2014 conference report and move on.
Thank you. Comrade Sani, do we need another national conference at this point?
To my own understanding, we don't need it. Even the last one, over 500 people were hosted. Billions of naira spent, yet there is no anything to account for. The resolutions reached at the end of the national conference was not implemented. It is there, a document of over 1,000 pages, but the implementation is not there. So it is just a waste of time and manipulation of resources and time, respect of some serious challenges facing the country.
Thank you. Marcel, do we need another national conference?
If you ask me, I don't think we do, because we already know what the problems are, and the solutions are in the hands of the people that are in government, especially the presidents of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They create problems by their actions, so they should be able to solve it. It's a one flip. I also do not think we need the National Constitutional Review Committee in the National Assembly that are currently roaming around the whole country, because what they basically do is that virtually every National Assembly come up with a constitutional review and budgets are voted. They use it for their hotel allowance and their sitting allowance, and when they finish, they go behind to drink beers and others. So it has become like a jamboree. So let them go back, pick up the document of the last house that has gone round, put it to vote. There's nothing wrong in resurrecting something that you have voted before. If new things come up, we bring it up and vote again, rather than just roaming around the whole country and spending billions of naira.
All right, we thank you. FCC Jones, do we need another national conference at this point?
Well, we do not need any other national conference. What is the National Assembly doing there? I think those who are advocating for another national conference just want to be settled. They want to take the sitting allowances. They don't really care about solving Nigeria's problems.
So with regards to the national conference, we scored them 4-0. No support at all. Okay, Infinite S5, you're raising your hand, but we don't normally call someone that doesn't join with his real name. If you tell me your name, I will rename your device for you, and then you ask a question quickly, 1 minute. Infinite, what's your name, sir? Infinite S5 Pro. Are you hearing me? No, you're not. Tango, please, quickly, 1 minute. Unmute yourself. Tango Gochuku, please. Is Tango there? Mr. Gochuku, can you unmute yourself? Or do we go to the next point? Okay, let's go to the next point.
Hello.
Okay, Tango, are you there? Go ahead.
I'm back already. Not Tango. Tango, I'm back already. Good day. What I'm saying is that my question goes to Saeed. Well, Saeed, he raised some issues about not informing the North or the cattle area before passing the law. And many people have said the real topic that this is a personal business. Many people do business, and government all over the world, government doesn't do business, but the government protect business. Government protect companies. Because the company employ people, help government. So government protect the company to survive. So for saying that government will bring money all the time, government will bring money to for individual business. Many people, a crayfish seller is a business person. If I want to is doing business, this cattle of 18, the cattle have been in place since we are born, and there was no problem. Anybody with second eye will know there's something inside this cattle area that not the cattle area we know before. And for our governor coming together, I'm happy because you show sign of that now they are feeling they're getting the result and they're feeling the heat. But the question I want Saeed to answer is that when the Northern Governors Forum come together and form Sharia law, knowing that some Satanist, some Christian is living in the North, do they consult others before passing that Sharia law and it's existing today? So Saeed will answer this question to me.
Okay, Saeed, what is your response?
Okay.
We're happy also to know that Igbo Renaissance, so that is Nze Ugo-Akpe is back with us. We will invite him to come.
Okay.
So Saeed, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much for this question. I really appreciate it. You see, the Sharia law only applies to the Muslims in the northern part of the country. It is not applied to the Christians. We have almost three or many types of court. We have the customary court, which treats the traditionalists. We have the Sharia law, which treats only Muslims, unless whereas a Christian is reported a certain Muslim to the court, then it will sit and decide. We also have the High Court of Justice and other courts. So you see, here in the North, have you ever heard of any Christian being persecuted or persecuted by a Sharia court? That is not possible. It is meant for the Muslims alone. Now, when the Sharia law was passed, I think it was in early 2003 or so, during the Rimam Bukura, the Christians were also given the mandate to set a kind of Christian court, but they refused due to the divergence and differences they have. So
Poor network. Hello?
Hello.
So that's it. Secondly, on the first question, this is the second question you raised. Now the first question. You see, when you are making any form of law regarding particular or certain people, can you hear me, sir?
Yes,
I hear you.
Yeah,
I will see answer. I will see coming later.
Okay, good. So what you need to do, this is Kaduna State. I'm from Kaduna State, for instance, and I'm making law that will directly affect the lives and properties of Igbos in Kaduna State. What I am supposed to, if I am to be fair, is to consult the Igbo leaders. You've been causing mayhem in Kaduna State. You are selling fake drugs. You are doing Yahoo in Kaduna State. So I want us to bring an end to this. Let's enact or draft a law. I have to first of all consult you, but I cannot just wake up overnight and ban the Igbos from selling drugs in Kaduna State just because they sell counterfeit. Because they are also Nigerians. They are not, although they might not be indigenous of Kaduna State, and their actions affect the indigenous of Kaduna State negatively. But due to that single reason that they are Nigerians, not foreigners, I have to consult them. First, this is what we are saying. Let me quote Professor Yusuf, which he called Professor Gandhi. He said, any law make for me without me is against me.
Yes.
And I don't believe in this proverb. If you are making any form of law regarding certain people, if you can reach out to them, first contact them. Now, look, of recent, the National Security meeting, I criticized Buhari so much because of that. We are all the 6 regions are having one kind of insecurity issue or the other. But he called for security meeting without inviting any southern.
let him finish, sir. Thank God, let him finish.
So it is also applicable to exactly what happens in the south, they called for a regional meeting, the governors, without the stakeholders, the people affected, the people causing the mayhem, of which their leaders are known. They can call any Miyetti Allah leader to the meeting. We want to do so things. What is your own perceptions? What do you think you can bring to the table? What is your own opinion regarding this? Why? Because we are only giving you this privilege because you are a Nigerian, and we respect that. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. I think there are other people. Tango, there are other people raising up the answer. I will allow you just briefly, please, to make a brief response. Tango, go ahead.
Okay, brief. Another issue, Sharia law affects every tribe in the north. I live in the north, I serve in the north, Yoruba land. I understand every Nigerian language, little a bit. And I can read and write other Nigerian language without Igbo. What I'm telling you that Sharia law, just like a few times ago, people who are selling beer, their beer will destroy. Is it not Sharia? Somebody selling beer. The beer was destroyed, and the police didn't pay him because the Sharia law says it's haram.
Yes.
Haram is forbidden. When I was in the army, I followed Fulani to go to school in the bush. We are through one Nigeria, but the system changed. Buhari, you are talking, was my GOC 4 division. You know Buhari 1-on-1. Buhari is a good soldier. He's a garant soldier. But his mindset and the religious feeling he has, Buhari prays 5 times a day, and he cannot see any soldier hungry. He takes care of his soldiers. That time, we don't know any sign of tribalism. But if anybody Buhari see in the mosque is his best friend. So that religious fanaticism is in him for a long time.
All right.
What we are saying now that our Eastern governor did the right thing, but they came too late, as Brother Marcel have said.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's proceed. Nze Ugo-Akpe, you are
so
now back.
Answer about the beer. But let him talk about the beer. The beer destroyed.
Let's move on, please.
Let me answer him in 30 seconds. 30 seconds. You see,
okay.
In Kano State, there are certain designated areas that you cannot sell beer there. And any beer caught in those areas will, be directly damaged. That's what the law says. So, and those beer caught in, even up to now in Kano State, I can take you to certain areas. You can go and drink beer. Go to Sabangari. Go to Sabangari. You can still go and drink beer up to now. But there are certain areas you cannot take beer or you cannot sell beer. Once beer are caught in those places, they will be destroyed.
All right, okay,
and that was the reason why the government destroyed.
All right, okay, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. Nze Ugo-Akpe, please.
Dan, please. Is it not tantamount to saying no open beer selling? So we're saying no open grazing. Is it not the same thing?
Okay.
You just mentioned something. Let me clarify something.
No. But note that in fairness to Sani, Sani said he is not against the ban on open grazing. He said it clear that he supports the ban on open cattle grazing. That what he supports is for government to allow them, train them, give them money to establish ranching, to veer into other forms of
Dan. So Dan, what I want to ask is, did the Kano state government, did they support the beer sellers? Did they build beer parlor for them, and did they train them in a segregated area? I'm just asking because it's better we put this together. We are saying the same thing.
Yes.
Or is there any special fund for a beer seller in Kano that government can that allow me to access? Is there any special fund for beer people in Kano?
No compensation. No compensation. All they do
we are talking of federal government intervention, not state government intervention. And those beer were caught in certain areas that were considered as haram.
So open grazing is haram in the south. So you go and buy ranch.
You made
and
mention. You give example of a certain country in the foreign country.
Okay. Let's not.
Okay, let me cite example here. The other speaker made mention of a certain country whereby someone was caught smoking cigarette in a particular area. He was directly fined 50 euros. Smoking is not forbidden in that country, but why was he fined? Because the area he was caught smoking was out of bond. That's what exactly happens in Kano.
Sani, we are saying the same thing. No open smoking, no open grazing, no open beer selling. We are saying the same thing. No open smoking. You cannot smoke in the open anywhere. You cannot graze in the open anywhere. You cannot sell beer in the open anywhere. We're all saying the same thing. So do we agree? We're all saying the same thing. That should be law.
Okay, Sas, please. Igbo Renaissance. Let's do it turn by turn. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, my brother. I think it's very interesting to listen to Sani. I had network issues, but thank God I had to switch. First of all, from where I stopped, you cannot ask for as making a demand as if it is your right that state fund, whether federal or state, should be used for private businesses. Yes, I support federal government or state government supporting businesses. That is how businesses grow. Now, but if we have to do it, it must not be on the basis of threats. We've heard people say it is either you give up your land or your life. Pamyat Dagyat, who is supposed to know better, made such a statement. Is it better for you to lose your life than to lose your land? You see, we need to be very careful with this very particular issue. Incidentally, comrade, I believe that every Nigerian has a right to do business in Nigeria. When I was growing up, I had friends who were Fulani. In fact, I went to secondary school with one of them. They had their grazing thing around, and sometimes we strolled into the bush with them. These were friends, I can tell you that. But at a who came in with AK friends are not these people we are talking about. So when we are saying that we want to put a check on the people who we have in our states, what we are saying is that we are not sending you out of the southern region. What we are saying is that your operations be regulated. Just like my brother in Kano, who is selling spare parts. I like your analogy of those who sell drugs. Please, if there's any Igbo man who sells fake drugs, arrest him, take him to court, and jail him. If there are Fulani men in the southern part of Nigeria whose business is not to rear cattle, but rather to come with guns and bullets, rape our women, kill our people, destroy lives and properties at random. The government has not done much in this direction to apprehend them. So what we are saying is the southern governors have taken up that charge now since the federal government has failed. Comrade Sani, please give me figures of the number of people who have been arrested, successfully prosecuted, found guilty or not guilty, and punished or released as the case may be. We do not have such records. So you find out that what you have is a situation where people do things that are not good for the country, that are not good for citizens, And then
Thank
the
you.
federal government looks the other way. And then when the southern governor says, okay, now we want to take charge of our space, then people say no. They need to come and tell us first. So for me, Dan, before you cut me off, I want to say this finally. The Northerners, our brothers, we are their brothers. If we come into their space and we start killing, raping, and maiming, they would certainly want to take charge. Just like laws have been made to take charge of those who contravene laws in the North, in the Sharia way. And I want to point out something. In 1998, as at that time, I was still into show business. I traveled from Lagos to Abuja for a show. Incidentally, I was wearing an earring. I was arrested at Nyanya by men of the Nigerian police force. I was taken to Nyanya police station. The next morning, I was being charged for wearing an earring, which is not Islamic. And I was going to be charged based on Islamic penal code.
Okay.
You understand? So I am a witness that such laws are applied to non-Muslims. So you find out that, incidentally, a lot of things needs to be balanced. We need to see ourselves as brothers.
All right.
And
Let's
treat ourselves as such.
One thing I will say because of my background is there's a difference between the Northern Penal Code and Sharia law, even though there are some provisions in the Northern Penal Code that are not in the Southern Penal Code. And if we call it Northern and Southern, I think it's misleading. But just that some states in the Northern Nigeria has incorporated the penal code that was in use in the old Northern region into their state laws. But let's move on. Let's not get diverted. What I need to do, let's go to the next point. The next point, because our time is running papu now. The next point we want to ask is another controversial issue they recommended. Due to the sensitivities of our people, there is need to review appointments into federal government security agencies to reflect federal character. Does the federal government need reminding that national appointments should reflect federal character? Pamson, what do you think? Do they need reminding? Pamson, please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. I just need to make some point clear. I've been raising up my hands because I don't want to join into the discussion and create a market scenario. I need to just make some few points very clear. One, I was in government during the PDP of Jonathan. I can assure you that no any 100 billion was discharged or given. I was in the PDP government. If there will be, we will have gotten. So let's get that very clear. It may be in the budget, but not given to governors. I think we need to make that clear. Again, government control the instrument of coercion. That is why the business of government is the welfare and the security of people, of its citizens. So if Dangote adds to the GDP of this country, if his business is having issues, the government owns him protection. So if that happens, I don't see why we are raising issues about that. Then if the headsmen are now creating problems, if government can intervene in order to make sure that these things don't happen, it's not a problem. We need peace, and that is the business of government. I need to say that I am totally in disagreement that the state police should be without guns. No, I think the essence of policing at some level is the coercive nature, so in order to create peace. Now, back to your question. Whether or not the issue of federal character should be raised beats my imagination. Clearly, it's already constitutional. Even the ministers of the federation must follow a laid down participatory mechanism that is enshrined. So I don't understand. understand why. Sorry. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we're hearing you now, but sometimes.
Okay. I mean, I just need to say that, yes, I know everybody in government at some point tweak or loop side the appointment in that government. But Buhari, this present government have taken it to a very, very different dimension, totally dangerous dimension. And that is why this issue is always coming. But I should think that the governors, they have access to the instrument of state. They can enforce this rather than putting it in their communique. I think this is what non-state actors should be doing, not state actors. That is my position.
Mm. Thank you very much. Any of the discussants want to speak on this issue? Or do we pick another issue at this point? Nze Ugo-Akpe, you're raising up your hand.
Yes, I think it's important for us to know that this particular aspect of the Constitution has been severally contravened. You understand? And it's very good that the Comrade Sani raised that point, speaking about the last president. This has been going on from 2015 till date. The Southeast has been technically marginalized.
Thank you.
And it's not, it's no secret. And I'm very happy Sani understands. It should have been in a harder way, but you see, I like the way they put it. The truth is one. So certainly the federal government has failed on federal character and needs to start repenting very fast and start changing things. You see, when you start changing these things, the coloration of the atmosphere in the South will change certainly.
All right. Your network is.
You come up with measures that one would say, how do I put it? Of double standards. Do you understand that? Of double standards. And you want people to be quiet about it. No, it doesn't work that way. The agitations in the southern part of Nigeria is because of some of these things. And especially in the Southeast, you do not marginalize the Southeast. No security meeting is held with anybody from the Southeast. In the last few days, we heard about decisions that have been taken about the security situation in the Southeast. And like Sani is saying, you want to barb us, but we are not sitting on the barbing chair. We are not even telling you the style to barb us. I'm happy Sani raised these issues. You know, you cannot be taking decisions about our lives, and we do not even have anybody to speak for us in that room. That is wrong. So that federal character case is one that needs to be visited, and very fast. If the agitations in the Southeast would be taken care of, these are some of the major issues that bring up the agitations in the Southeast, especially. Thank you very much.
All right, we thank you. Marcel?
Dan, we have overflogged the nepotism that Buhari introduced into our system. So I don't think I really want to comment more on that. I mean, it's a bad part of our history, and I just wish it just disappears.
Okay. On the other points expressed in the communique, I don't know how relevant. So
let me say something, please, before you.
Okay, Sani, you want to talk on? You've spoken on it before, so okay, go ahead.
No, let's it is on the issue the second to the last speaker made mention regarding the 100 billion. I quoted regarding what Jonathan disbursed to the federal to the nation at large. So he can just Google it. It is there. I've even dropped few links in the comment section. You might be in government, but it is not necessary that you know all that is happening in the government. Just like what is happening currently, We are all aware that Buhari doesn't know what is even inside his office. So that's my own point. So regarding the positions also given, actually, I am a staunch critic of Muhammad Buhari. You can just go over my profile, my Facebook page and Twitter handle. You can see it. Regarding that, I know Buhari is highly nepotistic. He is highly nepotistic in nature. But what we need to put at the back of our mind is that all the past administrations are like minds when it comes to nepotism. They appoint their allies, their close friends, and their families in all strategic positions. Even the last administration, the good luck administration, just go and check all the strategic positions. All the strategic ministries were headed by his close allies. So what we need is to develop a political culture to elect candidates that are competent enough and people that are not nepotistic in nature. That's it. Thank you.
Let's move on. Thank you very much, Sani, for bringing that point out. I also thank you for the Google point you raised to buttress your position. Other points raised in the communique expressed concern on the Apapa gridlock and then used it to call for establishment of ports in other areas of Nigeria. They also said concern about the lockdown, and they also called for the president to address the nation. On these 3 points, anybody wants to make any point on them? Are they really?
My hand is up.
Sorry?
My hand is up, if
Okay.
I'm allowed.
Okay, good. Okay, all right. Thank you, go ahead.
In any system, in any monopoly system, the consumer suffered.
Exactly.
Yes, because they will have choice. Like talk of cement now. See how much price is cement in Nigeria. See the price of cement. If there's a clean competition, I don't think Nigeria could have been a good country if our diversity is well managed. Because everybody is important. If everybody reason, if you have reason, Nigeria would have been the best country to work. We have everything, manpower, minerals, everything to make Nigeria a better place. Starting with quota system. Quota system kill merit. We have wrong people at the right job. But coming on your point, Saeed, I'm happy to meet you today because I've been seeing your article. But today I see you in camera. You see me in camera too. I live in Germany for some years now. So who is talking to you is not hiding. Since I left army, I'm in overseas. I live in Germany. So what I'm saying is that Nigeria will be a good country if not our mindset. Look at only one port survived in Nigeria, one seaport. The whole eastern region, no international airport functioning. And the most travelers are the Easterners. It's normal in every country that some people will be carpenter. Here in Germany, we know where, if you're looking for medicine, we tell you where to go. If you're looking for engineer, we say go to Hardenberg. If you're looking for automobile, this Mercedes you see, Volkswagen, they're all family, just like Innocent said. Volks is a family. Mercedes is a family. All these cars you see, German cars you see, started from family work. Nigeria could have gone far if not PhD system, pull in that system. So if you people with your voice, we can address, sorry sir, we can address this issue of monopoly, give room, free competition, Nigeria will be okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Anybody wants to talk on the 3 issues we mentioned before? Marcel? Apapa ports to create ports in other states in the southern region?
You see, at times when I see these things, I just laugh, because when you are holding somebody down, you are also down with that person. I mean, that's a natural thing. unless you leave the person and stand that you can stand up, then the person can either still remain down or stand up. So if you look at the policies of the federal government since after the Civil War, is a policy of saying nothing should happen in this zone going forward. And that policy is policy that has run up to this point. But one thing they forgot is that there are some of us that were not even born during the Civil War. I mean, I wasn't born during the Civil War, but I have grown up to be a partaker of the punishment of that action. And people will tell you that, look, I don't give a damn, I can't take this anymore. So you look at the seaport, this Atlantic Ocean we're talking about, if you look at the map of Nigeria, the map of Nigeria is like a country that is sitting on the Atlantic Ocean. You know, it's sitting on the Atlantic Ocean. So from Lagos all the way to Cross River Calabar, and then you go up towards the one that headed into Cameroon and then Benin on the other side. And these waters are supposed to serve all the way up, and then you only went in one particular country, just like somebody that has like a 12-bedroom duplex and then decides to go and sleep only at the security house and saying that is where all his family should sleep, whereas they are like 12-bedroom duplex all over the whole place. Who is it punishing? So when you look at the waterways, I don't know why we only have our Papa Port. Some people will say, oh, there is Port Harcourt port, but that Port Harcourt port, by policy, it can only be used to ship oil and refineries. The cost of bringing goods through that angle is so killing. So the government needs to help itself. I'm not telling them to help anybody. You need to help yourself, because Apapa is going to continue to be a mess. And you know what it's doing to the country? The country is losing funds. Go and look at international ports. You see how containers are cleared per second. Trades are done, the custom makes money, and things flow, and the economy grows. So when you lock down, you are locking down everybody, even you. And that's why today you hear the government crying of money. You know, they cannot generate enough money within the system to run the country. Everybody is dependent on fuel. Port business alone can finance the entire country if properly run and if diversified. Why must all the trailers be headed to Apapa? And it's making Lagos a mess. So if I were Lagos, believe you me, I would limit the number of trailers that are coming in. But then federal government will always use its powers, you know, to come. So Lagos is becoming a mess today because of that single policy of only one port. Open up the Ozumiri River that has a blue sea. And the funny is that if you look at the nautical miles, they are closer to the sea than even Lagos that was dredged. You know, when I made my analysis, it is closer and it is cheaper. If you look at the map of the world, it is cheaper to bring goods in that area. So why will me as a businessman in Onitsha have to go to Lagos to clear my goods and then transport it with trailer all the way down with customs and police picking every single money that I made all to Onitsha, when I can easily go to Abia State nearby the Zumi River and clear my port and then create job for your people? Anybody can come and work there. Let me tell you one thing people do not understand. You know, you think you are punishing people, you're also punishing your own children and generation. I traveled all the way from Kano. There was one time I went to a program in Kano. I traveled all the way from Kano up until when I got to Suleja. That was when the dual road stopped. It's just that road was dualized now, I think during Jonathan time, up to Lokoja. But I remember then I traveled all the way from Kano. It was a dual road, Kano, Kaduna, down to Suleja, and then it stopped. It became one single road. And then I saw the troubles the trailers are going through. They are all falling. And I asked myself, is it an Igbo man that is driving that trailer? No. So Dangote trailers will fall and destroy Hillsborough. So when you do not build infrastructure in any part of the country, you are punishing the entire Nigerians. Don't think you are punishing a sect. It's the entire country that you are punishing. So that policy of post-Biafra war policy has to cease. They have to open up the economy. They have to liberalize it. They have to allow people to grow at their own pace. And that's what I keep saying. When you restrict people from innovating and growing, you will have liability in your hands. And when you have liability in your hands, that's where all this insecurity, banditry, and all those things that are coming up. So I think our policymaker needs to think twice. And then let me ask you, Dan, how many years do we all have to live in this world that we're doing so much to punish people? I mean, in the next 50 years now, I don't think any of these politicians will still be around. So if you don't do it, somebody else will come and do it and take the glory. I mean, it's as simple as that. So my advice to them is that put your name in gold, get things done, and let people remember you for good.
Thank you. Sani, please.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, the issue of the southern governors calling the attention of federal government to establish ports in various states and Lagos, to be precise, is just a matter of port calling kettle black. Why? Because looking at the internally generated revenue of each state in the south, coupled with the grant issued by the federal government, if utilized efficiently, can't those states establish their own ports independently without federal government intervention? They can. Look at what is happening in Abia State. For over 20 years, the Abia State government operates in a rented apartment up till today. They don't have common government house owned by the state, but they squander the resources. That is fact. You can go check. You can Google this. It is there. My state, Kaduna State, generates now. Governor El Rufai internally generate 4 billion monthly, coupled with the amount he received as grant monthly. If he has the will, won't he establish any type of port he deems fit in a year? So you see, they keep manipulating issues. This is just politics. Once it is politics, it is always political. It is just pot calling kettle black. They have the resources.
Do you agree?
But
thank you very much, Sani.
They will calling the attention of the federal government just to gain the sympathy of the electorate. They manipulate our own IQ.
All right, thank you.
Sani, sorry, if I may ask Sani, I want to ask Sani, can a state government build a port and open it for international maritime business? Can a state government do that? Sani, Saeed, or Sani, I don't know. Can a state government do
airport.
it?
We have
I'm talking about seaport. Can a state government do it? Even if you build the airport, you also need the federal government approval to allow international travel. But
yes, if you have it established,
can a state do seaport? Can a state build seaport?
If the state builds seaport,
they legally can. They can.
They will seek for the legality.
No, I'm asking you. No, I'm asking you that legally a state cannot build seaport. So it's the federal government. Exactly. Right, the Kaduna inland dry port that was built. The Kaduna inland dry port that was built. Is it Kaduna state government that built it?
No. But it's
so why are you asking the state government in the south to go and build port and dry inland?
What I am saying, listen. It is a form of partnership because the state government provide the land. It is near my office. I have office where the dry port is situated. The state government provide the land where.
So has the federal government asked the state government in the south to provide land for that? Has the federal government done that?
Let's do it orderly, please. Let's
see, Dan, we need to keep things very clear because again, I don't want us mixing words. We need to.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Who is disturbing us?
I don't know.
Nze Ugo-Akpe, I think there is background noise in your area. Okay, let's do it orderly. I think by virtue of the exclusive. by virtue of the exclusive and concurrent legislative list wahala, I'm not sure that state governments can build them. I'm not sure that state governments can build seaports on their own. But
the seaport falls under concurrent and partly on the executive list. So there is a situation whereby the state government can partner if they have the wherewithal. That's if they have the wherewithal, they can partner with federal government and establish one. Then
right.
drive
okay, it's okay. Our time is going. We must round up in 5 minutes. Pamson, please. Pamson, you were raising up. You want to comment on any of the remaining matters?
I think it has been addressed. I think it has been addressed, so I would rather just keep quiet.
Right. Okay. FCC Jones.
Give me a second. This is the issue of airport. A second.
I would like to speak on this.
No, Nze Ugo-Akpe, the problem is that, sorry, thank you, please wait. Nze Ugo-Akpe, the problem when you want to speak, your network is generating some noise. That's the problem.
Yes. Okay. Is it breaking? It's breaking. Okay. Okay. Let me disconnect and reconnect. Is it okay now? Is it okay now?
Well, it's still generating. Okay, try to speak. Let's see whether it's fine.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but the network
is
still giving you some
problems. I believe that.
It's not
okay, let me stop so that I don't disturb the discussion. So I'll come back. Let me sign up and sign in back. Yeah. Let me sign back in again. Okay. Let me leave and come back again.
Pamson, please. All right. I think our time will be rounding up this discussion. Let me play a video. This communique generated some controversy. The chief prominent of the controversy is the charge that the Fulanese were not consulted. This is one of such controversy.
That we can't hear the audio, but I think we've all seen the video. So
okay, you're not hearing the video.
Yeah, we are not hearing the audio. We can see the video, but not the audio.
Okay, we're not hearing the audio. Okay, let's.
But I mean, we have all.
Okay, I will have played another video where the governor of Kano State. So each person have their own critic. The governor of Kano State supported a ban on open grazing of cattle and the transportation of cattle by feet from northern Nigeria to southern Nigeria. On the issue of consultation, many people misunderstood what this gentleman is saying. Just in line with Sani made a point similar to that, that it's not as if you are taking permission from them, but when you are making laws pertaining to them, you ask them, look, this is what we are trying to do. But we have had a lot of arguments for and against the issue here. The point is that no such laws have been passed. They've simply taken a position which they're putting across to the nation. Another issue that generated controversy is if you call for restructuring, why don't you ask your legislators from your state to say, look, all the legislators, senators, House of Reps from southern Nigeria, this is our position, advance your laws, put it up for amendment at the national level to get these laws passed. Can we use the next 1 minute to speak on that particular matter? Have the southern governors did themselves any good with the communique? Are they simply grandstanding, or have they taken an effective step to solve most of the problems they have identified? I will ask our discussants and other members of the public who wish to use one minute to talk on this subject, because please use it to make your closing submission, because we cannot come back to you for closing submission. So let's start from Thompson, please. Thompson.
Okay, I think my own position is simple. The taste of the pudding is in the eating. They've made a statement, and we hope to see if they can get their statement into an actionable result, because what they brought forward is an agitation that has been in the minds of an ordinary people in the country. So what they are saying is not far off from what we are feeling. And what we really want is, how do we address those issues? I need to equally say that, apart from, even though I feel they are grandstanding, but there is an aspect of the communique that makes sense. They said that the secretary to their state governments will continue working on the modalities for them to move forward in what they are planning to do. So that part makes me feel that we may see some positive action down the line. I think that is the best I can submit for now.
Thank you very much, especially for sticking to making it brief and direct to the point. Marcel, please.
Dan, there is a saying that whenever a man wakes up, that is his morning. So I believe the southern state governors has woken up, and so we should see it as their morning. I think what they did was good, and I think I've also read in the press somewhere where the southern House of Reps members or senators has also made a statement supporting them. Now, if you know politics of Nigeria, you know that the state governors, they control the House of Reps and the senators in their own various states. So that coming together, I see it as a political movement, and that is why there is jiltry in the polity. And if they continue in that move, believe you me, a lot of the troubles we have in this country will be solved, because things can happen in the floor of the Senate and in the floor of House of Assembly. And let me make it clear to you that when all the southern senators and southern House of Rep members walk out of the Senate proceedings will be stalled. And with that power, they can then do something. So if you send your budget and they walk out and say they're not going to approve this budget until you obey the law, if you bring in any bill and they walk out and they shut it down, nothing will happen in this country. So you should understand why people are jailed and why there's some fears in some quarters. So I will ask the southern senators, because they are actually the reason why you are getting a lot of these agitations from the south. If they have been living up to their responsibilities and they have been protecting their people and pushing in the demands of their people at the floor of the House or the Senate, you wouldn't see any agitation. And I'm being very, very blunt about it. So let them continue with this right track. Let them put their ears down, understand what their people want, and project the image of their people, project what their people want, and stand on it. This is politics. So the House of Reps members and Senate should take it up, go to the floor, ensure that the proceedings of the floor does not proceed unless those things are taken care of. I mean, in the US, we often hear that government is shut down, and you do that to hold the executive to account, because that's the only power you have, to make the executive to do what you want to do. I was making a joke one time, and I said that, look, this current Senate and House of Reps, if Buhari send in a monkey as a minister, they will approve it, they will stamp it. I want to see that change, and I'm happy it's coming from the South. So let us see how this pans out over time. For me, it's a wonderful move, and I think the Southern governors and the Southern House of Representatives should continue. I want a united Nigeria where everybody will be respected, equity, fairness, but these things don't come. Freedom are not given. You fight for it, and I want them to tie their going and go out there and speak for their people.
Thank you. Nze Ugo, please. Nze Ugo-Akpe Onwuka, please. Can you unmute yourself?
Thank you very much, Dan. I would want to say finally that the issue that we are looking at is hydra-headed when it comes to the governors, the Southern governors. But I want to congratulate them. While congratulating them, I want to make it very clear. I've said it earlier. if by the end of May 2021, the Southern, at least for once, to discuss this issue. This is not the business of secretary to the state governments. It is the business of the state assemblies to look at the statement that they want to do this and do that and start crafting laws to protect their people. Now, when we talk about restructuring that they pushed as well, we need to understand that a lot of people pay lip service to this very concept of restructuring. Every aspect of this communique, as far as I'm concerned, is welcome. I do not want to believe that they are grandstanding. I do not want to believe that. But by the end of May, if they have not started making positive efforts to push this to the state assemblies in the southern part of Nigeria, then I will confirm that this is just a political move to please some people within the region, the southern region, to make us believe that they are doing what they are supposed to do. Just like Marcel said, they failed. They have failed. From 2015 till now, I think they should have been savvy enough to understand that there's an onslaught going on. You understand? So if they are waking up today to the truth, to the fact that we are being invaded tactically, fine and good. We will give them the support as an organization, Igbo Renaissance Forum, that I represent. If we have to work together as a country, as a nation, then we all have to respect ourselves. There must be mutual respect from both the North and the South. But what we have is a situation where, like we have seen, the Southern governors met and people are saying they shouldn't meet. As far as I'm concerned, such statements shouldn't be. We are brothers. If brothers decide to meet to look at the issues concerning all of us, fine and good. Let us understand ourselves. If there are areas you feel are gray areas, there are ways you can put it across. Right, but when you make statements that people should come and take permission from you before they discuss their lives, I think it is not right and it shouldn't happen. We should respect ourselves. Thank you very much.
Is Sani, I think Sani dropped network. Okay, Sani. Dr. Mefor was not able to rejoin us. Thank you very much. All right. Tango, please. Just 30 seconds and then we take FCC joins as well. Please make it very snappy. Tango, please unmute yourself.
Well, my point I have.
FCC Jones, please.
Yes,
go ahead.
Am I true? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That is actually what the Southern governors have done is popular among the people, obviously, from the discussion we have had and what is happening on social media. Like some people have stated here, let it not be that the Southern governors are trying to play to the gallery. Let it not be that they're trying to use this as a decoy to douse tension in the South, a temporary means of dousing tension. Let it not be that they are trying to play politics with our emotions. And one of the ways they can show this is going by the fact that Southern senators and the Southern House of Reps members have actually also endorsed what these governors have said. Let them articulate a bill to the National Assembly. That is one of the ways for us to know that they are serious about some of these demands. And I was trying to respond to Marcel and Sani's argument over the legality or otherwise of this governor or governors building a seaport. I would have wanted to learn from that because I think Marcel is a lawyer. If that is not legal or constitutional, I think these governors can make an application the same way we know it is illegal. There is nothing like bailout fund in our constitution, but the governors sat together sometime and got the president to dash them money to give out bailout funds to them. They could do that. They could as well come together and decide to sink a seaport. 2 more seaports in the southern part of Nigeria. Let them make demands and be serious about it. let us see the federal government deny them or decline such demand. Then we will know that the federal government is more irresponsible than we already know. Secondly, it is also important for the Southern governors not to shift responsibility, shift criticism from themselves with this very populist move. There are lots of things they can do by themselves and for the people that they have not been doing. It's us to be foolish enough to think that every of their failure is, or for us to blame all their failures on the federal government. Let them not, some of them don't pay salaries. There are lots of jobs they haven't created. So there are still money that belong to the people. Let them stop that. That is one of the ways they show us that they have become responsible.
All right.
Have actually woke up to their responsibilities.
Thank you very much. It's been a very interesting evening we have with this fine discussion. The Southern Governors Forum Communique on Insecurity, more questions than answers. We thank Mr. Sani, Comrade Sani Saeed, although he has dropped for being with us tonight, Dr. Mefor, Pamyat Dagyat, Nze Ugo-Akpe and Marcel Ngogbehei. Thank you all very much for being with us tonight. It's been a very lively conversation, and we trust that when we call you again, you will answer our call to continue further discussions on very pertinent national issues. And on this point, we will say good evening and good night.
Good night.